All right. Thank you for joining me, guys. I'll go around the room and introduce us all. We have the lovely Amy Lucas, our Courseware creator. How are you, Amy?
Good, thank you.
Lovely. Then we have the brilliant Georgia Gwinnell, who works closely with Amy in writing the content. Georgia, how are you?
I am good, thank you. You're right.
Good, thank you. Very good. And last but not least, we have Josh Kingswood, making your e-learning engaging and intuitive. Josh, how are you doing today?
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
Very good, thank you. Thanks again for being a part of this today. For the attendees watching today, I think it's really important you meet the faces that create the content for your staff and the learners that undertake the e-learning. And just diving into the purpose and thinking behind how we design the courses, how we hear the feedback from you, our customers, and how we improve the content to make sure it's accessible and engaging. We know you guys as Courseware stay hot on regulation changes, so your finger is always on the pulse and making sure the content is updated to today's practices with all of our learning. So just before we dive into our e-learning demo, I wanted to quickly grab an understanding of the background of the Courseware world as a whole at MLC. So I guess, Amy, if we started with you, what is your why? Could you share your general experience? How did you get here today?
So I've been with My Learning Cloud for about 2.5 years. I first came into contact with My Learning Cloud as a learner. So before I worked here, I have a background in care. I've worked in residential homes and domiciliary care, and in 2 out of the 3 companies I've worked for, I have used My Learning Cloud's training. And I genuinely think it was a big contributor to the carer that I became, and I think it was some of the best training that I had in that role. And the why I wanted to join MLC and why I do what I do every day, for me, it's really about the individual that's at the end of it. Like, we have our customers, we have our learners, and then at the end of that is the individual. And for me, it's about providing the highest quality training so that those individuals can receive the highest quality care and support. That's why I do what I do.
Could I ask for your favorite course that you've written so far?
So for me, my favorite course is the Autism Spectrum Disorder course. Autism is a passion project for me. I specialised in autism research at uni, and for me, it was about dispelling those myths. There's a lot of misconceptions around autism, and for me, it was about breaking those down and rebuilding the knowledge and really getting that person-centred aspect into the training.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Amy. Georgia, how about yourself? What areas do you tend to focus on your day-to-day? Could you just dive into a bit of your sector experience as well?
So, unlike Amy, I don't come from a care background. I have worked for administration companies previously, but I do have a degree and a master's degree in creative writing, which is why I was recruited into my role. So I've learned about structuring, how best to write out prose, both fiction and non-fiction. So that definitely helps with our case studies and scenarios that we write. And in terms of my day-to-day, I focus mostly on our office-based courses, legislation-based courses, because it's all about taking the higher concepts and the complicated language of the legislation that is put out and the guidelines and make it into easily digestible content for our learners to digest.
And your favourite course that you've written so far?
I think my favourite course so far is the Equality, Diversity and Inclusion. It's something that's quite close to my heart, and it's about ensuring that everyone who is supported by our customers' organisations they receive the same level of care as anyone else, but also we provide a office version, so that ensures that when people are working in their role, that they are also treated fairly and don't face any discrimination in part of their jobs just based on some of their protected characteristics.
Thanks so much, Georgia. Josh, apologies for coming to you last again. If I was to meet you for the first time, how would you describe your role here at MLC?
My background is in software engineering and web development. So that's where I focus on the courses. So whatever you're seeing on your actual computer is what I'm producing. So I take the content that the guys create and I turn it into a visual experience for you. My focus is on the interactivity, like with the question types and the activities that you do throughout the courses. And I really like to focus on the kind of haptic feedback that you get. So whenever you interact with a draggable item or click on an object, you really get that feeling that you're interacting with it properly and you know what's moving and changing on the page. So it becomes like an intuitive and smooth experience. But yeah, that's where I really focus on, and that's what I do for the courseware.
And your favorite course?
My favorite course has to be the LGBTQ plus course, because it's so bright and colorful and it has a nice positive spin on it compared to a lot of other subjects, which are kind of serious and quite impacting to on a personal level to a lot of people. The LGBT course has a really nice celebratory tone to it, and it's kind of it's a fun read. So that's my favorite.
This is a bit of an open floor question. I was wondering if you could dive into a little bit about how we structure our e-learning. So our customers tell us our content is engaging and interactive. So we're definitely doing the right things. But there are so many different formats you can find with visual e-learning in the sector, from multiple choice, video learning, audio learning, anything else our attendees have seen in the sector or other sectors. So what's the thinking behind the way we structure our e-learning courses in terms of interactivity, the styles, the different choices the learner has in their journey, and just getting that balance right?
So we try and take a balance. We try and appeal to lots of different learning styles. So throughout our courses, there will be videos. There's the option to have audio, but there's also written content and lots of activities. And for me, when writing a course, I try and, for every bit of information I provide, I try and have an activity that checks the learner's understanding and puts it into practice, because I think it's really important to take the theory and understand what that looks like in your day-to-day role and how you can use that.
All of our courses are written in quite a logical, flowing way for the learner to be able to make the most sense out of the subject, because we do cover quite complex, large subjects like safeguarding, and some of the subject matters are quite large to try and wrap your head around. So we do try and write them in a way that is the easiest way for learners to be able to understand and be able to put what they've learned into practice. We also use a lot of real life case studies, because sometimes, especially with some of our more hard hitting courses, you feel like some of the examples can't be real, but no, they have absolutely happened. And this is how in the past they have been dealt with, so it should help the learner be able to use them in their day-to-day role.
So last year we launched our bespoke course service to the world. So did you want to dive into how that service works, how our customers can find us? Georgia, could I come to you on that one?
So we understand that a number of the organisations that we support require courses that are tailored specifically to them and their needs, which some of our courses may not be able to cover. So we do offer the bespoke services. This allows our customers to be able to create a course completely from scratch with our help and our expertise as courseware creators. So what we'd ask to do is, if you contact your customer success manager, so that's like Jane or Kirsty, and what they'll do is they'll put you in contact with us. We'll make a big specification document, and if they send over something like just a PowerPoint presentation, we're able to transform their ideas and create something that is tailored to their needs. And also we can use their organizational colors. We can create imagery that they require. It can be whatever they want it to be, to cover any subject, from absence management to supporting specific people. That's absolutely fine. The sky is the limit.
Thank you, guys. I think it's time to dive into the e-learning demo. Amy, please feel free to take the screen and show us around.
Okay, so I'm just going to do a little demo of our e-learning for those of you who are maybe newer customers, or just to point out things that you may not have realised were available or you might have forgotten. So obviously when you access a course, you come to this page and it shows you everything that's involved, like your learning outcomes, your aims, and the duration as well. And then once we access a course, I'm just going to jump through and show you a couple of page types. So they're all broken up into units, as you can see here. We've got our learning outcomes attributed to each unit, and every unit will start with the learning outcomes. Those that are kind of in bold, they're the ones that are relative for this unit, and the others are covered later in the course or in different units. We then always have a unit introduction, just to give you a little bit of an idea about what it's going to cover. Some of these will have a little trigger warning or a little bit of extra information if you need to know anything about the course. It will usually prompt a learner to talk to their manager if they need to, if there will be distressing content covered. We then go through. I personally always like to start with a question, get you thinking rather than, straight away with information, but we do vary it up a little bit. You can see here is one of our opinion pages. You simply click the correct answer, submit, and there we go. And this is an example of one more text-based. And you have links as well within our courses. If you just click on these, they will open a separate thing for you in a separate tab so that you can look through it and your learning isn't affected at all. We've also added the functionality that if you have a page with multiple clickable items like this one, the learner cannot press next until they have accessed all of the different information. The button is grayed out, and then as soon as they have accessed the information or completed the question, they can then press next again. We did this based on feedback to try and maximise the engagement of learners in the content. Just going to take you to our sidebar here. So this is a home button. It will simply take you back to the home page of the course. You can toggle your audio on or off. It is set to be off by default, but you can simply turn that on and it will read from wherever you are on the page. We have a little help center here about how to navigate your way through the course, save your progress, use the glossary, etc. Really handy, I find, is a little note section. So if a learner is looking at something and they're thinking, I'm not going to be able to remember this, or this is a really good point, I want to look at this later on, you can simply type in your notes and save it as a PDF that can even be printed, especially for people who may find learning on a computer that it's not the way they learn best. They can print off that PDF and then they have those notes to hand that they can highlight, scribble over, whatever they like. We also have a glossary. So any words that learners are maybe unsure about in this context, you can simply click on the glossary and it will tell you what it means. Course information, again, has all that kind of text that was on the launch page with your aims, your learning outcomes, duration, etc. And yeah, that's really it for our e-learning. So once you have completed a unit and the course, you then go on to your knowledge check. I'm just going to pop over to this tab here. So you complete a unit, you have a tick, and then the knowledge check will open, and it's simply 10 questions that are randomly selected based on the learning that's been completed, and you have unlimited time to complete it. And if you get a question wrong, it will tell you and it will ask you to retake that question again. It won't be the same question, it will be a different one, but it will be attributed to the same learning outcome and difficulty. So if you get a question wrong that's to do with CPR, it won't then give you a question on anaphylaxis. It will give you another question that's attributed to the learning outcome of CPR, so that you can make sure that your learners are getting their understanding is checked of the whole topic and all of the learning. And yeah, that is pretty much it. And you can save and exit at any time and your learning isn't affected. You can just hop straight back in where you were and it will prompt you to do so. Hope that was helpful.
Thank you for the demo, Amy. That was really helpful. And I hope everyone that's attended this webinar today was able to get a really good understanding of our e-learning, the accessibility, the engagement, the purpose behind how we design the courses. If you are new here, you can find out more about our LMS plans, as well as the e-learning and the bespoke course service. I'll leave an email address here below as well as we close, as we're just about to wrap up. If you are with us as a customer, do speak to your customer success manager, that being Kirsty, Jane, or Lawrence. If you do want to find out more about how to create a course, or if you want to find out more about upgrading your plan, or if you want to just talk to us in general. we'll come to a close now. Thank you for joining. I'll leave an email address at the end, and I hope you have a lovely rest of the day. Thank you.